G'day, Trooper Cody and Steve with a Light Horse video, and apologies first off for not being in uniform, but we're about to head off and earn our keep moving the sheep. But before we do, here's today's video, and it comes to you from the 24th of May 1917, and it's Ian Idris's diary entry for that day. And they're in the desert and they're working towards the big push for Gaza, and that is coming in a few more months' time. And at the moment the Turks are entrenched in a defensive line, and the Allies, the Light Horse in particular, about 7 miles from the Turkish lines, and the regiments are having a bit of a rest. And what happened on the 24th of May 1917 is early in the morning a detail has to be sent out because the cooks need firewood. And so of Ian's troop, old Corporal Nix, I'd love to know how old Corporal Nix was, but he's described as being old Corporal Nix, is detailed to take 7 troopers and 4 pack horses and head out and get firewood. Now we're in the middle of the desert, so it's accepted that the only place you're really going to find firewood are abandoned houses, Bedouin shacks, shanties, villages that have been abandoned, and there may be some wood there, fencing, rafters. So they head out. Maury, who's one of Ian's, in Ian's section, a section being 4 troopers to remember. So Ian and Maury, they go out on what these days you would know as point. They're out well ahead, and that is, if anyone's going to get shot, it's those 2 blokes, and it's more important that they get shot than the regiment's pack horses. That's why they are out in front. So they're out in front, and they're about 4 to 5 miles from the regiment, and they've been heading generally in the line towards the Turkish lines. And they see a house that looks to be in good, livable condition, and it is surrounded by a prickly pear fence. Now, prickly pear was introduced into Australia, became a pest, and if you've ever seen the efforts made to get rid of it, you'll understand that prickly pear could be used like a fortress wall. So there was a prickly pear fence around the house. When Ian looks back, he sees that Corporal Nix and the other troopers and the pack horses are actually moving away from this house, and that's because it's not far from the Turkish lines, and it is the perfect spot for an ambush. So Ian and Maury have a move apart. They have a fair distance between them. They also begin cantering. So a canter is a speed under a gallop. Sorry mate, he thinks I'm asking him to move. So they set off into a canter, and this is to be less of a target. Good boy, step back into shot. That's it, good lad. So they want to be less of a target, so a bit of a canter and far apart. But there's an old trick in the Light Horse, and that is when they're getting close, but probably in an ambush, the shooters, the snipers, would like them to be a bit closer. Ian suddenly goes up in his stirrups and looks like he's looking intently at the farmhouse. And then he shouts and he drops down and he hugs his horse's neck. And as he does that, he spins his horse, and Maury sees what he's done, and Maury does the same thing. The 2 of them have done a flying 180, and boom, they're off. Ian hadn't seen a thing. This is a Light Horse trick. Pretend you saw something, spin and take off. And as soon as he does that, gunfire erupts from the house. Poor military discipline. If those Turks had kept their fire, Ian and Maury would have galloped off and gone, oh, no one shot, perhaps it's safe, and they might have come back. Poor military discipline. The Turks opened fire, the range was too great, the guys were galloping, they hear the shots. Left-handed riding, remember, in the military. Ian is so adrenaline powered with this, that as he's galloping off, he takes off his hat and he waves it back at the Turks behind him, and then the gunfire stops. Ian and Maury slow down and they have a laugh about it. They say, you know, we tricked those Turks. What they didn't realise is the gunfire only stopped because there was a bit of a dip in the ground. And as they rode on, they came out of the dip, and Ian says suddenly there's gunshots. You can hear the bullets whiz past. You can see bullets hitting the ground on either side of the horses. And Ian's comment is, what splendid range those Turks kept. What he means by that is, despite having ridden off some distance, those Turks still worked out how far the guys were away so that the bullets were landing near them. Neither of them got hit. But that's the story for the 24th of May, and a little incident that happened just going gathering firewood. And of course it begs the question, there have been other videos, when Ian says what splendid range the Turks kept to have bullets landing nearby, is what Beersheba and Under the Guns is all about. But that's other videos. We hope you enjoyed this. Click like, make a comment, more than anything, subscribe. Thank you very much. Cheers.